Hello everyone, and I am actually going to be going over my steps in creating overlays for really fun imagery that you can have when you're using XSplit or OBS to host your online games. So before we start, here's how I do my online games. I'll either use Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds for game board or a die roller. I also use Zoom or Skype for video. I do not use Google Hangouts. It is too unreliable, too unpredictable, and I've had problems with it in the past. So I just avoid that altogether. And I'm going to show you some really cool tricks to make some overlays so that when you're doing your games live or when you're pre-recording them for YouTube, they look slick. Now, some of you out there have seen my overlays before. You've seen them on my YouTube channel when you've watched my Stars Without Number game. That's a really popular overlay. Some of the other ones. But since we're doing Dungeons and Dragons, I try not to go for the really crazy, unique overlays. Instead, I try to go for something simple. So I'm going to be running Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm going to do the Curse of Strahd, and I've purchased the books through Fantasy Grounds, so I have a lot of the artwork that has come with it that I think is really unique, and I'm going to go ahead and make this. So the first thing you need to realize is I do all of my games at 1080p, which means the resolution is going to be 1920 by 1080. So I'm going to go ahead and click New, and I'm going to call this Main page. Actually, you know what? I'm going to call it Intro. This will be the page that I fade to and then fade to my game. This is when I tell my players, okay, guys, we're getting ready to be live in 3, 2, 1, and then I'll transition to my main page. It's important to think of this stuff when you're making your overlays, just because I find it's easier to make sure that you have everything. So I've got my 1920 by 1080. I'm going to do this again, only I'm going to call this webcam frame. Okay. Then I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to call this main. So this is when the characters are role-playing and they're not really rolling, or there's no battle mat, they're just talking. There we go. Then I'm going to make another one, and I'm going to call it Role Play Rolling. So I don't need a battle map for this one. This is just going to be having all of the webcams and then a section for the die roller. And then I'm going to do it once more. Combat Rolling. There we go. So there's going to be 4 different scenes that I'm going to use in OBS or XSplit. I'm going to have those webcam scenes ready. But for the introduction, I want to choose a Curse of Strahd picture. For the webcam frame, you'll understand why this is important. Main, you'll see what I have plans for that. So the first thing I'm going to do is, what do I want on my introduction page? So I definitely want a picture, and I found a really cool Curse of Strahd picture that I intend on using. Curse of Strahd overlay tutorial. Bam. I love this picture. Now with GIMP, you can select all, copy, and paste into your window. With Photoshop, you can go anywhere on the image with your cursor and press Shift and Alt and grab it, and then drag it over to the introduction tab and drop it. Thanks for the follow, Master of Flowers. John Poland, this son of a bitch here, okay? I love this man so much. He brings a lot of flavor to the games that I've been in, even if he is a kill-stealing dragon slayer who puts his party to sleep so that he can ride the dragon like Falcor. Crazy, okay? There might be a lot of bitterness to that, John, but I'm going to tell you that was one of the most crazy, amazing things I've ever seen. Just this halfling going, yeah, on top of this green dragon. It was ridiculous. And if you guys haven't seen that, go to the YouTube channel, Dork Vision, and look up the Mines of Fendelver game, because it was actually one of the most fantastic things I've ever seen. So here's my Curse of Strahd picture. This is a great introduction picture, but it's too small. So again, to keep the proportions and to keep it centered, I'm going to hit Shift and Alt, and I'm just going to expand it and see if it makes it look too poopy by doing so. Not bad. What I love about D&D art is you can actually stretch D&D pictures out and in, and you don't really have to worry about loss of quality too much. Does it look better up? No. Does it look better down all the way? That's centered. How about down? Nah, I'd rather center it. There's nothing too unique about the top or bottom. Now this right here is an amazing picture of Castle Ravenloft, the Ravens, and Strahd, the sexy evil man himself. So, I'm not done with this intro page, though. I really want people to know it's Curse of Strahd, so I'm going to open this up. And for those of you who are in my token tutorial, I made my webcam smaller so that you can see the tools that I'm using. I'm going to go Curse of Strahd logo PNG. Oh, look, there's a bunch of them. Ooh, I kind of like the one with the white font here. So let's click on this guy. There it is right there. I'm going to right click, save image as, and I'm going to put it into the Curse of Strahd overlay tutorial as Curse of Strahd logo. I use programming casing where I case every word and I don't worry about spaces or underscores. I just think it makes it cleaner. You can name it however you want. Ultimately, it just depends on what your organizational style is. And if you see me go through my folders, you can tell that I have the organization style of a madman. I also want a Dungeons and Dragons logo PNG. There we go. Ooh, I kind of like this one. That one is not a PNG. It lied to me. Lucky for you guys, I already saved one. So I'm going to go into pictures here. And I've got it right there. I'm going to copy it. Go onto my desktop. Go to the Curse of Strahd overlay tutorial and paste it, because I like to keep all of my materials together. Now, the other thing that I have that I use is my logo for my channel. And I definitely encourage you guys use your logo just because it helps with branding. So people can go, oh, this is a Jarl of Goats video. It's very handy. And I've made a couple PNG. See, this is where my organization skills need work, because I am not finding them. Heh heh. This isn't awkward at all, everybody. Heh 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 heh. An interesting fact, I actually wanted to open this. This was one of the original overlays I made, and I hated it so much. I realized that making them simpler with less fancy, oh, I've got to use paper and parchment, it just works better. Wow, I am not finding my logo, so I'm going to skip that because that's really not important. And I know I have it somewhere around here. Like, there's some logos there. Definitely find your logo and use it if you can, or if you're like me. Oh, there they are. They're black. I don't know why it's like that. Thank you, Windows. Copy. And then I'm going to pop that in my Curse of Strahd folder as well. There we go. So now we're going to go back to our Photoshop document, file and open, and Curse of Strahd. This is going to be the biggest one. So I'm going to Shift-Alt drag this to my introduction pane and drop it. There we go. We've got our beautiful Curse of Strahd logo. I'm going to plant it right here off to the side, but I'm going to make it a little bigger. There we go. Now, one thing you could do is you can add some effects to it. You could do a drop shadow. I think for this one, the drop shadow kind of takes away from the image. You could do an outer glow and really make it pop. You could change the color of the glow. So if you want it red, you know, if you want it to be a dark purple, even though they can't really see the glow, it's there, adds a nice effect. I prefer white, and for this one, I'm actually just going to make the glow so small that it's barely noticeable. But I add some differentiation between the logo and the backdrop so it doesn't just bleed in. The other thing that I'm going to do is a lot of times when people click on your channel to watch a video after your little intro piece, they're going to want to have it catch their eyes immediately, and they're going to make a judgment on your video within the first 10 seconds. So if they see this photo and they're like, wow, that's really nice, I like that, then that's good news. Some of them, I've actually been asked, what game are you guys playing? And a lot of us are like, well, duh, it's Dungeons and Dragons. It's Curse of Strahd. Do remember that not everybody plays Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm going to take this PNG logo that I have of Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to shrink it down. And I'm going to put it on the bottom here in the corner. Just something that they know I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons. You could add a glow effect on this too. I'm not going to, and I'll show you why. I just think it's too much. Too much glow. You can if that's your personal preference, but I want Curse of Strahd to pop. And then I'm going to open up my logo, which for some reason, even though it says without shadow, it has a shadow. That's fine. And shrink it down. And I'm going to pop that to where it's lined up pretty well. You know what? I hate that. I hate that it has a shadow. Do I really have both of them with shadows, or is there one that says without shadow and I'm just blind? Clutter. As you can see, I actually have a folder named Clutter, and clearly it's not Clutter because I use it all the time. No shadow. Okay, that's the one I want. Well, if that's the case, I'm going to close that. Delete that. I don't want a shadow. I think it just takes away from the beauty of our little intro page here. Still legible. They can see my little D20 wax seal. And I'm going to move it up. There we go. Again, if we can add an outer glow to it if you want. It kind of helps it pop out. For me, it just clutters it, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the way that it looks. Maybe if you want, you could pop this in the corner over here. You could move the Dungeons and Dragons up to the top. You know, however you want to do it. I think that just looks ugly. In fact, you know what? I don't even like my logo on there because it really makes it cluttered. So we'll just pop this in the lower corner. There we go. We've got our introduction page. We're going to go File, Export, Export As. I always export as PNG, even if it doesn't have transparency, just because I'm happier with that. And we'll go ahead and plop it in here. Now, one thing I always tell people, save your document, or save your Photoshop file or your GIMP file, however you're saving it, to the same folder, because if you're looking at the layout and you realize, you know what, I want to change out the background, or I don't really like the way that looks, you can save it. Bingo. So we're done with the introduction. For the time being, I'm going to close out of it. Now, on my next document, I've got webcam frame. And the reason why I put webcam frame in is just so that I can get a good 1980 or 1920 by 1080. I choose bright green, and I'm basically going to fill this shape with bright green. I'm going to go to File, Export, Export As, PNG, Export All, put it into the same folder. I'm not going to save this. There's no point, because this is only temporary. Now, this is where my particular design gets a little different than most people. I'm going to open up Word. Not everybody has Word, but everybody's got something that's similar to Word. But you'll see why I use it. So I'm going to get this blank, close this out. I'll view these files later because I'm terrible at that. And I'm going to go to Insert, Pictures, and where is... Oh, that's right. It's in the desktop, Curse of Strahd overlay. And I'm going to insert this webcam. Remember, the only reason why I have this image in the first place is as a way to shape what I'm designing using the 1920 by 1080 format so that 16 by 9 webcams fit right in. Let's add a border. Ooh, I like that already. You could play around with the picture borders. You could change the effects. That's a thicker border. I don't like that. I like this one. So there you go. You can also change the weight. You know, if you want thicker lines, thinner lines. I was a fan of the way it was, so I'm just going to leave it. And there we go. Now, what I envision is a good picture border or webcam border is we want some place to put a name down here at the bottom, some shape or whatever. And then I like to put the stats on the right hand or left hand side. I do the right hand normally. So I'm going to go to Insert and I'm going to go to Shapes. And we're going to check out some of these cool shapes. Some of the flowchart shapes are actually really awesome. Here they are right here. You could choose different shapes. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a square. Just a simple rectangle. I'm going to start it. Actually, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. I have an idea. And it's going to look beautiful. I'm going to do a triangle. Whenever you draw a triangle, hold Shift. It'll make it an equal triangle. And there we go. I'm going to rotate it. No, the triangle. By holding Shift, I'm going to rotate it so that it's flat like that. And then I'm going to bring it down. See how that little green arrow popped up? That's showing me that I'm at the edge of my webcam. It needs to come down a little bit more. There we go. Under Format, I'm going to change the Shape Fill to black. Shape Outline to black. There we go. Let's copy this and paste it. And I'm going to put it on the other side, rotating it, and basically snap it into the same spot. It needs to go back just a little bit. Now, you don't have to worry about lining it up quite yet. Then I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to go Shapes, pick the rectangle, and I want to shape... Oops, I want the rectangle. Don't hold Shift because it'll draw a square. Like that. Really quick, do the Shape Fill, Shape Outline. There we go. It needs to go up. That's pretty flush. And it also needs to go a little wider down. It's going to take some playing around with, but I think that's pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to copy this triangle. So you can go Control-C, Control-V. Control-C copies, Control-V pastes. Do not hit Control-P because that'll try to print it. And we're going to rotate it to be vertical, just like that. I'm going to put it up here at the top. See how that green arrow, that green line is showing me that it is lined up with the top. There we go. I need to go over a little more. Voila. Maybe up. Or no, over one more. There. So it's all flush. But this time, I'm going to go into the formatting tool, and I'm going to make the shape fill white. And I'm going to add a little more definition to this. I like that. There we go. Actually, you know what? I don't like that. I lied. I don't want a border. It's so bad. There we go. I'm just going to do white. Okay, so there we are. We have that. Now I'm going to hit Control and V to paste this. I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to rotate it. And I'm going to bring it down until it's flush with that. Then I'm going to click on this and go bring forward. And we're going to draw a rectangle now. We're going to go Insert, Shapes, Rectangle. There we go. I just clicked anywhere. It made a very basic shape. I can kind of see where that white is ending. For now, I will put on a border just so I can see what I'm doing. I think that's a good idea. And you'll see there's a method to my madness. I've thought of this design just kind of like sitting there. Here we are. One more. There, now it's flush. I'm going to lower this, make sure it's flush. Nope, needs to go out a little more. Out one more. Maybe one more. No, not 3, 1. All I did was make it the same exact. There we go. That's good enough. And then I'm going to draw it down to attach to this other triangle at the bottom. And I'm going to make the shape fill white. Now for this triangle, I am going to add an outline real quick just so I can make sure it's all lined up. And there we are. Now, what's really neat about this is I'm going to drag this down a little bit. Just enough to swallow that. There we go. And then I'm going to drag this up a little bit. Again, enough to swallow that border there. Here we are. I'm going to turn off the outline for the rectangle. No outline. And then we're going to draw some... Oh, I need to expand this a little bit. I need to shrink it. There we go. Then I'm going to go to Insert, Shape, Line. I'm going to come up here and do a line down to there. Change the weight. So shape outline is going to be black. You could change the weight right here to make it a little thicker. I kind of want it to match the weight of the triangles, which looks like 2 1/4. And then I'll drag it over to get rid of that other. There we go. So it's not perfect, but we don't need it to be right now. We're just doing an outline. Go back to Insert, Shapes, Line. Actually, there is an easier way. I'm actually going to grab this line, copy, paste, and smack it on the end here. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just basically theory crafting right now and trying to get everything established. Playing around with the layout. Okay. You know what? I think this would look better if this expanded out to, say, here. I'm going to expand this one out. This triangle needs to go up a little bit. I'm very picky, so if it seems like I can't make up my mind, you are absolutely correct. I can't make up my mind. And then I'm going to draw this triangle down. Or this line. That's not a triangle. I need to go back to math. And then I'm going to bring this up to the front. And you can do that by right-clicking and go bring to front. Right-clicking, bring to front. And when I did that, of course, the rectangle slid a little bit. Okay. It's a little choppy. But here's my idea. I have my webcam frame. The name is going to go here. The name of the character and the name of the player. And I'm going to put the stats right here where it's important and everybody can see them. I think this is good. So next thing I'm going to do is File, Export, change file type. Oh no, there's an easier way too. File, print. Where it says Adobe PDF, you could do print a file. Oh no, that's right. I am not used to this new version. Save as, there it is. That's right, they put it in this one. I will go to desktop. And I'm not going to save it as a Word document. I'm actually going to save it as an image. There's a way they do it in this newer version of Office, and I suck so bad at the newer version of Office. Oh, it was here. Save as another file type. Nope. I guess I don't have any of that added, but that's fine. I don't need to. Oh man, I haven't done one of these in so long. Let's see, there's Word document, PDF, XPS document, plain text. Okay, now this is where my favorite thing about Word comes into. I'm actually going to print screen, open up Paint, paste. I've got two windows open, so you'll have to excuse that. I'm going to select all of this. There we go. Cut, file, new, don't save. Paste. File, save as, and this is going to just be in my Curse of Strahd as video border. I know a lot of this seems crazy, but like I said, there is a method to the madness. So we're going to go back to Photoshop, File, Open, Video Border right there. Over here in the right hand side, you'll see that there's a little padlock next to where it says background in the layers menu. I'm going to click that off, add a new layer, which is transparent, and bring it to the bottom, and we're going to do some cleaning up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in and just... Oh, I still have green selected, that's why. And just fill this with a black line. There we go. And then I'm going to use the eyedropper to select the green here and go back to my paintbrush and just clean up the shape a little bit, getting rid of these weird random pixels that sometimes happens when I don't line up shapes right. There we go. Go to the eraser tool. Make sure you have a hard eraser, not a fade eraser. Make sure that the size is reasonable. And just kind of clean it up. That is correct. I'm going to make it a little smaller so that I can make sure I get that piece. There we go. My biggest advice I can give anybody is don't rush your overlays, honestly. Highlight everything that's outside of the box and then press delete. I've got my transparency now. And then I'm going to go back to the eraser. Control D to deselect. And just clean it up a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to eliminate this green background here by clicking on that and then hitting delete. Control D deselects. Select your eraser tool. Come up here and clean up the corners because that will drive you crazy. And I didn't do eraser. Maybe one pixel, view, zoom in, and just go to each corner. If that little tiny bit of green bothers you, you can change it. Just like that. For me, it doesn't really bother me at all. I don't care. But if you wanted to clean it up and you're like, ew, I can see that. I know it's there. It's haunting me now. What the hell do I do? You know, you can go to each of the corners here and just clean it up a little bit. But I mean, we're really talking about eliminating 3 pixels. You know, that's not a big deal. View, zoom out. There we go. And I think that's good. View, 100%. There we are. That's a pretty large webcam. So now, under main, I want to choose a background to put here. And I want to choose something that just screams Curse of Strahd. So I'm going to come up to Google and I'm going to search Haunted Woods Roleplay Fan Art. I don't know why I capitalized. Images. So here's some Haunted Woods. Maybe Haunted Wood isn't the right word. We're going to change it to Forest because I'm not seeing what I'm looking for. There's a good one. There's a good one. We're mainly looking for things that are 1920 by 1080 or larger. Or something that can be expanded and it won't hurt. Oh my goodness, there it is right there. Open a new tab. Redirect. This is a Pinterest, so I'm going straight to. The Cursed Forest. This is a tutorial. This isn't what I wanted at all. That's right. I'm not doing it right. Save image as. And Cursed Forest. This is really cool. I love Pinterest for this reason. People can make really cool art. They can have tutorials, anything that like that. I can hit visit. It'll take you to the page. You can click on it and it'll take you to the page, or you can save the pin. And while I'm here, I don't really see anything else that catches my eye. Let's see what else they have. That one is golden, but it's a little too small. Might be fuzzy if we made it bigger. But luckily, it doesn't really matter too much. I like that one a lot. Let's open that up. I like that one a lot. I like how there's a person there you can't even see. That's very spooky. So we're going to go save image as. And I'm going to call this Cursed Forest 2. Save. Let's go back to Photoshop real quick. File, open. Cursed Forest 2. Well, we'll try the first one. We'll see how they flavor. You know, nah, I do like that other one better. It screams Curse of Strahd to me. Now, the cool thing is before I copy this image over, if I really wanted to, I can make some adjustments to it. So I'm going to go Adjustments, down to Hue Saturation, and you can make it darker. You could turn down the saturation. I'm actually going to make it 0. Right there. That right there I like. So I'm going to Shift and Alt and drag it over to main. Plop it down. There we go. So I have my Haunted Woods that I like. If you want, you could even stick with one of the Curse of Strahd ones. One of the ones that I had was Castle Ravenloft, but I didn't really, you know, like it too much. I think it's, I want to use it in the game. I want it to be shocking when people see Castle Ravenloft. The other ones that I've seen, I've got some images here. This one is really cool. I might go with this one. I also like this one. So they're both really neat. But I think for now we'll stick with the Cursed Forest. I do like that one better. So I know that I'm going to need 5 cameras. Me and my 4 players. And I always like to put the DM in the middle. So I'm going to go to my video border, and I'm going to select this, and I'm going to move it over to... yeah, that's right. Edit, undo. I'm going to close out of this castle because I don't need that right now. Nor do I need the raven. Bingo. Go back to my webcam, video border, and drag it to main. Plop. There we go. We have our webcam border. I'll put this one in the middle, over here. Now, before I start messing with the size, I really want to know what it looks like. Oops. I really want to know what it looks like when I include other borders. Am I going to have room to fit all of these guys? It's okay if they overlap a little bit, but I don't really want them to overlap a whole bunch. So I kind of want this one to be right here. And then I'm going to shrink it down. So we'll put that one right here. I'm going to get rid of the first one that I pasted because I realized that it's too big. Copy the layer, move it over, and make sure that it matches. And yes, the borders can touch. Now, as a DM, I will not have any character stats, so I'm going to highlight this to get right in between. And I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. Then I'm going to get my transform tool out and right click and flip horizontally. And then I'm going to place it to where the center is here. There we go. Enter. Everything looks great. Perfect. I'm now going to take my eraser tool and actually my marquee tool. I'm going to select this empty space because, like I said, I don't need this section over here because I'm a DM. So I don't have stats. So my DM pane is going to be blank. To make this easier, because I'm dealing with... Oh, yes, and merge those two together. Merge layers. To make this easier, I'm going to go ahead and do an outer glow real quick on all of the layers I'm working on. I might even just keep it for the game. Outer glow. And then I can see right off the bat that I need to make these a little more even. Sometimes Photoshop will do this really annoying thing where it's a couple pixels off. There we go. Go back to the player one, copy, and make another one. Oh. The player, edit. Control J, which copies the layer, and I'm going to put this one over here. And see how Photoshop automatically snaps it and is like 37, 37. My spacing is good. Then I'm going to do, again, Control J, and I'm going to put this one up here. Control J, and I'm going to put this one over here and line everything up so that it's all square. There we go. I am also going to take my Curse of Strahd logo here, drop it into main, shrink it down, and put it in the middle of these two webcams. Here we go. We're going to add a glow to that one as well. And I'm going to make it even smaller than it was before. So instead of 8 pixels, let's try 6. Perfect. Now this one might be a little hard to see because of the forest. One way you can get the logo to show better is if you do a drop shadow. Make the distance really small. Make the spread quite big and the size a little bigger. So that it looks like it's got almost a black shade around it. And then I'm going to drag it below all the webcam frames. There we go. So we got our logo to the campaign that we're playing. We've got our cameras up here. Up at the top, you can add whatever you want. If you're streaming live, you can add a text chat. What I might do with this one is I might just keep it like this. Select the logo and all the frames. And just center it a little more. I like to keep my designs fairly simple. There we go. Perfect. I just had an idea. Let's go to Google real fast and let's look up shield shape. PNG. Images for shield shape. We want some light. This will work right here. It's a PNG. We'll save it. Save image as shield outline large. Oh, no. Let's do this one then. That one's good. Let's actually save this one. Save image as PNG. Good. Shield. So one of the fonts that I use, and this is going to be important, is called Nadesto Caps Condensed. That is the D&D font that they use on the cover of their books, and I really like it. I'm telling you this because we're about to use it in just a moment. So we're going to go to my desktop, back to the Curse of Strahd folder. I'm going to pick up that shield. And then I'm going to color the inside of it white. Turn this back to black real quick. There we go. Now I have it. I'm going to copy this and move it over to my main page. Slap it down. Control-T, zoom out. Control-T transforms it. And then I need to zoom out so I can see it. And just shrink it down to about yay big. Doesn't have to be too tremendous. Zoom in. Zoom in. And then for that one, I'm going to add a stroke to it. And we're going to make the stroke a little smaller to match the lines. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And I'll drag that up to here. Now the cool thing is, I laid them out. I'm going to click this and this top one here of the layers. I'm going to right click and go merge layers. So now they're one. And if I move it around, you can see it's one layer. I'm going to put it back where it belongs. And then I'm going to copy that and move it back down over here. Copy that and move it over here. Perfect. Copy that and then move it up here. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of everything else, all the other ones that I used to have that don't have the shield anymore. That way there's only one frame. So I've got my frame in the middle. Time you'll think you need them in like 2 hours, right? I remember you. Yeah, why does it show up as Dork Vision? Oh. I don't know. Go ahead and let Mike know that I'll get with him, and we'll be able to do that later. If he's busy, I can meet up with him another day. Thank you, though. That is weird that it showed up as Dork Vision. So, oh, if you used Beyond and you logged into Dork Vision's Twitter or Twitch account to use D&D Beyond, you are still logged in Dork Vision's Twitch account. So make sure that you log out. All right, so there we go. We've got all the panes up here. And now we do some really cool stuff where we can start. Yeah, use your own main account, Slacker. And before you leave, have Dork Vision follow my channel. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to highlight here, and then I'm just going to hit delete. On the layer 2, we're going to delete that. We're going to highlight the area around this webcam. We'll delete that. And we're going to highlight the area around this webcam. And basically do the same thing to all of them. There. So now when you're in OBS or XSplit, you're going to slap the webcams behind there, and it's going to look really, really, really cool. Now, we have this weird bleed effect with the Curse of Strahd here. You see how it's showing underneath? Not a big deal. We just click on our Curse of Strahd logo, draw a little marquee box around here, and just hit delete. Where's the Curse of Strahd logo? Is it this one? It's so tiny. Oopsie, that's not it. Well, there's one way to find out. We'll go through here. There it is. It's that one. Oh, I see now. Yes, 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 yes. I see why it's doing that. That bleed may not be okay. I may need to change that effect. So we'll go to the drop shadow. And we'll make the spread smaller. Now the other cool thing that you can do is you can add another outer glow to your effect. So I can go... I'll close out of this menu. Outer glow. Oh, that's right. I disabled that because I was really annoying. That's funny. We can change the outer glow to be something a little more dark. Yeah. And then we'll get rid of the shadow effect. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, much better. Yes. I like that. There we go. So we've done that. Now this is almost done. Our layout is almost done. The beautiful thing about what we've done here is these webcam frames I'll be able to drag onto the other scenes, and those scenes will be much quicker to make. So let's go ahead and go into our text tool and do the fun stuff. Now you'll notice what I do is I work on one webcam, finalize it, copy, and then paste over the others just because it makes it easier. So I think for player name, we're going to do a test here. I definitely want a character name. Character, oh, let's put it at the top so you can see what I'm typing. Character name, player name. I'll select all the text in here and I'm going to make it relatively small, like 8, 6. I'm starting to realize that maybe I don't like this font for what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to go back to a better font for this. 4, 5, 4 should work. And I'll drag this over to where it's roughly centered. Character name, player name. There we go. Now, at 100%, you could see that that's pretty legible. We could probably even make that smaller if we really wanted to. It's important for me, though, for when I'm planning, I'm going to nudge this over just so that it's... Oh, no, actually, that's a good point, John. I like that. I like that idea. See, John, this is why you're here helping me out. I like that idea a lot. What John is suggesting is brilliant. Like that, right? That way it's on the inside everywhere. Yeah, that's good. Thank you, John. Yes, it's actually quite easy with GIMP and Photoshop. It's not too much of a problem. Well, if that's the case, I'm going to put the drop shadow I liked so much back in. There we go, and give it the Curse of Strahd drop shadow. Let's change the spread just a little bit, or the size, and give it that haunted, ghostly look. See, John, this is why I keep you around. All right, and then, yes, that's good. So now let's go with another one. For the stats, we're going to do some placeholders, of course. But I will go back to the Nadesto for the... Oh. You keep him around for the bear? Oh, good one. Jeez. Jeez, good one. And we'll make this back to the Nadesto. Let's give it a stroke. Let's make the stroke smaller. Maybe even smaller. There we go. I can already tell you that this is going to have to be smaller itself. But don't panic. I mean, if you're working this far out and you're like, ew, I can barely read that. That's super tiny. Do remember that at 100%, it's not that tiny. In fact, I might even make it tinier. Yeah, I think I will. Let's make it a 2.5. Okay, so we know we've got strength, and I'm going to hit Control J to duplicate it. This might not even work out with the shield. We'll have to see. Dex. Why did I make that so big? The beauty of doing it this way too is it always seems like your first frame is going to take the longest. Con. Oh, that's right. Oh, you know what? That's actually not a bad way to do that. I think the reason why it was so heinously huge is because I need to just put str. There we go. Now, do you guys think that's too small at 100%? Is that something that looks okay? I think it looks okay. I can already tell you, I might have to get rid of the shield. I think I'm going to. Let's... no, actually, you know what? I'm not going to. It is a little small, isn't it? Well, then let's do this. Let's, I could shrink the shield. Let's actually add... So what I'll do is I'll make this caps again so that it's easier to read. STR, there we go. Lower it down. And I'm just going to enter a bogus number here for a filler and just put like 14. Highlight, make it black. Shut up, computer. Change the font of this probably. Make this larger. Not 6th. Jeez. Okay. And let's bump that up. What do you guys think? You guys, oh, perfect. Okay, so let's move the decks. Let's make this bigger. That's why I like looking at it from afar. Oh, yeah. Sometimes it gets really small. I like looking at my project from afar, but then also bringing it in up close. I know that Twitch box is annoying that way. And we'll move this down. We'll make con bigger. And then we'll move it up to where it lines up with everything else. There we go. And we'll go ahead and make another copy of this number. Yeah, when it's very clean font. That's one of the reasons why I like using it. You can get away with making it smaller than most other fonts, and that stroke just really helps. And let's duplicate con and do wisdom next. Almost lining up. There we go. And then we'll also copy wisdom and do intelligence. Strength, dex, con, int, wiz, charisma. Oh well. I can fix that. You can sit out there on your own, wisdom. And then we'll copy that and do charisma. You know what? I know exactly what it's waiting for. Come on. Line up, baby, line up. That doesn't seem lined up at all. Photoshop, you liar. Oh well. As long as it's decent. And then charisma. Definitely last but not least. I can pop right there. And the beauty of all of this is that The shield doesn't need to have a label. So I can actually move this up to here. The shield is just going to have a number. And once we play with these numbers more, we'll be able to fit them in better. There we go. So I think I'm going to add a stroke to this one and make it white. And then make the stroke like 2, 1, 1.5? No, 2. All right, we'll make it 2. And then we'll lower the charisma down a little bit, just to make it look a little more even. We'll lower wisdom down. The first 14 can go up. Dexterity can go up. Second 14 can go up. Oh, I did that wrong. 14 copy can go up to about there. Con can move up. Second 14 is going to follow con. Intelligence can go up. There we go. The third copy is going to go... Is that not lined up? There it goes. Wisdom is good where it is. No, actually it can go up 1 notch. There we go. Alright, so that's not too bad, I don't think. I think that's good. Now, my other idea for this is once tokens are made for the characters, like we'll just use Maria here. My idea was to slap these tokens on right here. That way, when you are watching and you see the person's faces, you also see their token. That way, if I do battle maps, you'll know. And then under the character name, I can copy this, and Maria is this character's name. The player name, which is the same file, is Aaron Bryant. And let's take a step away. Even from back here, you can still read everything. So this is actually good. And I love your idea, John, about moving everything to the other side. I love that. I like how all the shields are facing the middle. That makes it really easy. And of course, the most important thing that everybody's going to want to know is armor class. So we're going to make this one a bit bigger. Slap it right in the middle of the shield. So we now have a very informative overlay that shows their stats, shows the AC, has the name, has the character token, so that people will see it. And at the same time, it doesn't look like a bunch of diagonal lines and stuff like that. We actually look like we did a little work to it. I just noticed something. When I cut this layer, I didn't cut it all the way out, so I need to fix that. There we go. Now, the beautiful thing about Photoshop is I can add a folder. And I'll drag this up. And I can call this folder stat folder. And then I can create another folder and put it in the stats folder and call this one Aaron. Create another folder, call this one Ethan. Create another folder. Oops, that's not a folder, that's a layer. You're a madman, James. And I'm going to call this folder Tanner. And create another folder, drag it down, and call it Mike. I've got my 4 characters. Now, the reason why I did this is because I'm going to take the int, wisdom, con, dex, all the 14s. And the character name. No, actually just the stats. And I'm going to drag them into the stat folder. And this was Aaron's, so I'm going to put it in Aaron's folder. Then I'm going to Control J to duplicate all these and drag them into Ethan's folder. Then I'm going to hit Control J and drag all of these into Tanner's folder. And then Control J and add them into Mike's folder. And the reason why I did this is so that when I'm using Photoshop, I can take Ethan's stats, which I've saved here, highlight them all, go to the move bar, and move them down. And you can use the arrows if you want, which is painstakingly slow. Instead, I'm just going to line this up in the same way that I have the other one. And of course, it's having a hard time telling what I want to snap to, so I'll just manually do it. How about that, Photoshop, you cranky creature? Now I'm going to do the same thing with Tanner's. I'm going to grab the move bar, drag it all over. I didn't select them. That's my fault, not Photoshop's. I'll blame Photoshop, though. I like doing that. And then I'm going to drag this over here to where it's even. And then line it up to where it's more centered. There we go. And then I'm going to take Mike's, copy all of that, and drag it. And now this is interesting because this should just link. And it just did. There we go. So now I've got all the stats on all the windows. Now all I have to do is go to the name title. Right here where it says Maria. I'm going to copy that. And then drag it down to here. And Ethan's character's name is Locag. Locag. And then I'm going to highlight the Aaron Bryant. Change that to Ethan Jasperson. Then I'm going to copy Ethan's. Move it on over here. Thank you for auto snapping. I love that feature. I'm going to call this Codrin. Let me review my characters that are actually in this party and see if that's really his name. I can't remember. Yeah, Codrin. Excellent. And this one's Tanner Martin. And then I'm going to copy Tanner's. Move it up here. Take some time. There we go. And I'm just going to call this, I don't know, because I don't know that character's name yet. I'm going to call this Mike, because I don't know his last name yet, but I will get it. And there we go. So now, since I've got the Maria one here that I added, I can also open up Codrin's and do the same exact thing. And actually, I love what you recommended, John. This is looking fantastic with these tokens where they're at. And I can actually line it up with the photo and then shrink it down. So it's roughly the same size. Bring it over here. Actually, it looks like it was a little bigger. Yeah. And then with Tanner's, because he's on the right side, and we did change that, we're going to bump it over just a tad. And we're going to open up a new one. Low CAG. Luckily, these don't have to be perfect. And you can just really? Why did you undo my resizing? You can just kind of eyeball it. Low CAG's going to be centered and then brought up to be level. There we go. So I've got the tokens. You get the general idea of what I'm going for with the overlays. Oh, I almost forgot the most important name tag. And I'm just shameful for it. There we go. So we just did our first major window. I think this all looks great. And I will show you the steps that I'm going to do to recreate this for the other windows. But first we are going to take a 10 to 15 minute bio break so that everybody can go use the bathroom, get some coffee. And then we'll be back to continue on for the roleplay rolling. And my idea with roleplay rolling is it's going to have our webcams, the 4 players will be together, the DM will be in the top right, and then a window so that you could see the dice being rolled. And then in combat rolling, I'm probably going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 of us on the top, 2 of us on the side, and then 2 windows. So I'll probably do that. But other than that, I'll leave the stream on the intermission page, and we'll come back and finish this in about 10 minutes. Hey, no problem, John. You know, and if you got a bug out during the intermission, I do save this as a VOD. I might break this up into parts and put it on YouTube so that people can see it. But a lot of people who struggle with overlays, I think they're overcomplicating it, and they're not just being creative. This one I'm kind of just improvising on the fly as I go. And I honestly think that once people see how easy it is and how you can make mistakes, go back and change things, fiddle around with things, a lot of it's tinkering, there is no set science, you can make some killer overlays. But until I get back in 10 minutes, I will see you then. Bye-bye.